I will move to Laura.
Thank you, Chair and Senators. Can someone please ask about the rice jars? No time now. My name is Laura. I am Clay's mum and a late diagnosed ADHD person. Navigating this system, let alone defending yourself within it, requires you to be, in effect, a lawyer. I should not have to upskill to that level simply to ask that my son's right to an ordinary existence equal to his siblings not be so hard fought. I want to dispute claims made during June's hearings and share a reality those hearings did not capture, including that participants are already receiving plan cuts despite reassurances from NDIS staff. We may be seen as the product of privilege in our family. We did have a double income and superannuation. We sold our house and rented for many years. What looks like privilege from the outside is, in most cases, the reserve tank families burn through because every other support failed them. The NDIS was meant to be the floor, not a reward for families who could afford to wait for it. The impact hasn't been confined to finances. Our health insurance was cancelled due to financial pressure, and with it, I lost access to mental health treatment I can no longer reach. The toll on our whole family has been significant, alongside parental guilt multiplied by infinity. I acknowledge the Tim Heffernan's statement from the previous hearing that lived experience genuinely heard changes rooms. The question is whether this committee will act on what it has heard or let it become another entry in a report that changes nothing. I also heard Professor Alan Fowles raise ECT, electroconvulsive therapy, describing it as dangerous while participants are still expected to trial every treatment before qualifying for the scheme. I was subjected to ECT. It did not help me. It damaged my short-term memory, an impairment for which I may need accommodation today. It happened because of a misdiagnosis by a clinician who had no time to keep up with current research, delaying my autism and ADHD diagnosis and causing me real harm. I am the cautionary tale this bill's treatment exhaustion provision will keep producing if it isn't amended. Trauma does not start when your plan is cut by 60% or your Section 100 review is rejected. It starts earlier, in a doctor's room where a 2-year-old is handed a ceiling instead of a future. How do you sum up hope, knowing the child a paediatrician declared would never talk, never live independently, or is so much more than that prediction? Clay speaks, don't you, mate?
Yes.
Clay works, Clay votes. Clay dances at music festivals surrounded by people who love him. The paediatrician was wrong. Yet the systems around Clay keep behaving as though that old prognosis were true, and his full life is becoming less full because of it. Minister McAllister described these cuts as designed to help disabled people live their best life. Clay leaves his bedroom for about 2 hours, 4 days a week, only when work is booked for his own business, and that work is declining. He's moved to a registered provider after the 60% cut has been quite difficult in the least. His business is disintegrating. He has redirected his remaining social funding into keeping it alive, sacrificing the community life other young people take for granted, and now relies on the disability support pension. This is not his best life. It is managed decline, dressed in the language of aspiration. The resourcing being removed from Clay's plan, community participation funding and individualised business support is precisely the resourcing his best life depends upon. I ask the Minister to name specifically what supports would remain available to deliver on that promise now this funding is gone. As George Orwell said in Animal Farm, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal. Quarterly budgets compound this. Festivals and outdoor events, Clay's community and joy, cluster in the warmer months, but his budget doesn't flex with the seasons. He must choose between missing the events that sustain him or giving up the work that pays for them. For Clay, the difference between a life and a room. NDIS official Erin Rule spoke about reinvigorating group-based activities. Clay is known and welcomed in his community as the Banana Man at festivals and supercars events on his own terms. Being around people is not the same as being forced to be with them. For autistic people, that is a matter of safety. Clay endured years of bullying and carries PTSD as a result, forcing group settings will cause harm, not reinvigoration. My advocacy for Clay has meant engaging with several ombudsmen and commissioners, each sitting in its own silo with almost no coordinated support for disabled people or carers. There is also a deeper penalty built into this system when a parent puts in more time and effort. Funding is reduced on the assumption that a parent can provide that level of support indefinitely, that parents age and can develop disabilities of their own. Clay should not be punished for the fact that I have tried to fill the gaps this system left open. I am currently in the Administrative Review Tribunal process over Clay's plan. Most matters settle before hearing, and I understand why the system calls that efficiency, but I am not a lawyer, and while the staff opposite me opposing what I talk about are trained and paid to be there, and I am frightened and exhausted and progressing anyway because the alternative is worse. If pre-hearing settlements are often better than the original offer, the original decision was wrong, and there is no accountability and no learning from the NDIA's own errors. I come before you as the mother of a young man told at 2 that he would never talk, who proved that wrong not because the system helped him, but often in spite of it. The NDIS at its best was a promise to remove the ceiling. This bill puts that ceiling back lower than before through tighter eligibility, cuts to participation, mandated group models, punishing budgets, and a permanence test that could deny access to people whose conditions were mistreated before they were ever properly diagnosed. I am one of those people. I'm not a participant to be totally transparent. And Clay is one of those people. Trauma does not start when your plan is cut by 60% of your Section 100 review is rejected. It starts when a system chooses efficiency over dignity and calls that reform. We can do better. We must. Clay and I thank you for your time and are happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Laura. Clay?
Hello, I'm Clay.
He's just going to answer questions. I basically took his time for the opening statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We generally don't ask questions of these panels, but Clay, you're welcome to make comment.
I mean, all I can say about this year, since the NDIS cut off like by 60% in February, it was pretty tough. It feels like my work is less, the hours are less, even like going out, having fun, festivals, what Mum said, it's been less too. And it's been tough,
You lost your old support workers?
And I have lost my old support workers too.
I'm going to bite and ask you about the jars. I can't not.
Thank you, Senator Jordan Steele-John. So we did this very mathematically. My husband is a business analyst. There's lots of weighing of rice, weighing of jars to make sure we reflected this as accurately as possible. 2019, Clay entered the scheme as a Year 12, 17-year-old. A lot of his time was at school, and I was his, the parental support was reasonable as expected at that time. 2020, there was COVID, there was not much additional supports required, and then it increased every year. And you can notice it says his age and that he is self-employed. Clay has a successful business. He's well known in his community, and it fills him with not just purpose, but provides him until this year with an income. So this is these 2 years of the funding that were of the highest, and the reason for that is we were gearing up to work towards independent living as a goal for Clay, with all the skills and capacity building required for that. And then for no reason at all, absolutely zero reason and no understanding of the report from the NDIS, 60% cut this year in February. S100 rejected, completely disregards everything from the functioning capacity. I get the names wrong, sorry, I have a short-term memory impairment. But yeah, the report from the OT, her and I went through it forensically to compare it to the report from the S100 and the NDIS, and they hadn't even read it. Like, nothing made sense, and it was just devastating. Clay's had to transfer from his support workers. He's had the 3 years where Clay's run his own life. And I'm sorry I'm talking over Clay, but did you want us to answer any of this, mate?
I mean, It's been tough, that's all I can say.
Do you want me to help you with that?
Oh, yes, please.
Before February, I didn't have any involvement in Clay's life, in him booking his support workers, him organising his shifts, in him going where he wanted to with his social life. He paid for all of his tickets and, his actual life. It was just support from the NDIS. And then come February, this happened, and immediately we had to pivot with Clay's support coordinator to figure out how we're going to do this, how we're going to get the best out of this for Clay. And it meant he lost his 2 independent support workers who were flexible, great relationship, had a great understanding and relationship with Clay, to a support provider that involves, we're still onboarding them. It's been tough. It has been, I micromanage my 24-year-old's life, and it's insulting, it's invasive, he has no privacy. It's just, I despair. Like my husband and I are looking at early retirement, but we don't know how our son is going to live the life he deserves independently. We've done everything right. We've done everything we can. We've sold our house. We've done so many things, and all of it's a choice. I'm so glad that we've done what we've done and made the choices we've made, because my son, you have a great life mostly, don't you?
I do have a great life.
Mostly. I hope that's helped with that.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Clay.